You're live now. Hello guys and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be very interesting. This video is brought to you by the Education Diary. So in today's video we are going to talk about how to learn DSA. If you are in studying in the first year of college or you are trying to get into some company. So we'll see how you can learn DSA, how you can get a start with DSA. So this bootcamp will be all about that, and we'll also learn some sorting techniques and searching techniques in the end of the video. So so for today's students, it's very important to learn DSA, and most of us uh, suffer to learn from we get confused while we are going to study DSA. How will I do it? I don't know where to start. If I have started, I don't know how to solve questions. I'm not getting it. My logic is not building, and we get confused and scared of it. So you are not alone. Everybody goes through it. You just have to start. So today's video is going to be all about that. We are going to discuss how you can start with DSA and how you can go through your journey. I will tell you each and every step so you can get a better understanding and hold of DSA. So just follow these steps for regularly, and you will be able to learn DS and solve questions like easy. So let's begin with today's video. So when we when we are new to programming and everybody is talking about DSA, so we don't know where to start. So it is very important question for us to begin with. We don't know where to start from our DSA journey. So first of all, I'll tell you that try to get your concepts clear. So choose a language. Choose a language like you want to do in C, you want to do in C++, you want to do in Java, Python. Let it be any language. Choose a language first that you are interested and comfortable in working with. Let it be any language. It doesn't matter. But in my opinion, the choose any language other than Python for working with DSA, because Python makes your works very easy while using DSA, and you'll not get your concepts clear. So don't choose Python as a first. I will recommend you to choose C, C++, or Java at first. After learning your concepts and going through this programming languages, go with Python. So first step is choose a language and get better with it. So as the time goes, learn your language, learn every syntax, concepts that is synchronized with that language. So first step is to choose a language and get your concepts clear about that language, that how the language is working. Just don't type your code, just don't print hello world every time. Try to get better understanding of the language, so it will be better for you. And don't change language like every other week. So first week you will try C, then you'll try C++, then you'll try Java. So try first, but don't change it every time. So if you're facing some issues with Java, don't go to C. If you're facing issues with C, don't go to C++ or Python. So pick a programming language and go through with it. So your friends will tell you that this programming language is very easy. I'm using this is very much better than this. So don't listen to everyone, just pick one and go through with it. So this will be better for you. So this is the something where you have to start with. Pick a programming language and go through with it. So next step, what we have to do. So next next thing what comes into our mind, how to think. How can I think to solve problems and learn DSA? So basic answer and most appropriate answer to this is start thinking. Don't sit ideally and think about how will I think, I don't know anything. Don't be scared, just start to think. So take some basic programming examples, questions from online portals. There are many available, we'll talk about that later. So take that like pattern questions and recursion and all that. Take that and try to think on it and then code. You are not here to be a typist, right? You want to be a programmer. So don't just get your code online and copy paste it and be happy when it runs and it does not give you any errors. So try to learn the code, don't just type it. Otherwise you will be a typist, not a programmer. So first take a programming language, then understand the concepts of it. So clear your concepts. So next thing is, don't aim on solving everything. So you'll take some programming uh, questions online, you'll solve everything, you'll go on and on and on, and you'll think that I'm getting everything, but you are just copy pasting it from online. So don't aim on solving everything, that I will raise my rank in competitive coding websites, I'm solving everything. So by just looking at that, you'll get placed in some fine company. So don't do that. Aim on learning everything. So take one programming question, and then try to solve it and by your own. Learn the concept first and try to implement it on your own. If you get stuck, then take reference but code it on your own. Get your logic clear and then do it. Don't just copy paste it from online. So that's the most important thing. So aim on learning everything. That's next thing is, when you take a programming question, take it, try to solve it, but not on the keyboard, right? First take a pen and paper, write everything, write your notes, write how to solve this and get your logic clear. So when you try to, you know, solve it with pen and paper, it becomes more easy for you to understand. While when you are on computer, you'll just go to Google and search for your uh, answer. So don't do that. Take a pen and paper and solve it, see how the coding is working, how the code is working, then do it. So after you have written your code, try to debug it, give some sample inputs and see how the code is going on. So that will be much better for you. So debugging is, try run your code every time. So it will help you that how my code is actually working. So this will be beneficiary to you. Then next question comes into mind, I'm doing for like 2 3 months, 6 months, but I'm not getting anything. So how much time do you have to spend? So first of all, if you are trying to do it from several months, like 3 4 months now, so understand that you are going wrong somewhere. Don't be in the arrogance that you are doing everything right and still it's not happening. If it's not working, that technique, change it. So understand where you are going wrong and don't be hasty. Some of us will code for a week and then will think, I'm not getting any programming languages, I'm not getting any concepts clear, I'm not getting DSA. So don't be hasty. It takes time. The uh, videos which you are watching online today, they are not somewhat that they have just coded yesterday and have come here today. So if you are seeing somebody that saying, I have learned only one day and I'm able to do anything, they are wrong. Ignore them. So it is a continuous process. So give time every day. Don't take breaks and do it every day. So uh, let's say you have taken a programming question and you have tried it and you failed. So try again, try again. Then if you are getting stuck somewhere, take a short break for a few moments, then come again and try again. That's the best way to do it. But don't be stuck on that only. If you are not getting it after 1 or 2 days, then leave it for some time, do other programming languages. Believe me, you'll get it sometime. While doing another question, you'll think, oh, I got it now. So that is very important. Don't be stuck on everything, but don't be too hasty also. That is very important. So next thing comes into our mind, how to solve problems. I'm not getting any logic. So logic is not something that you build instantly. You have to solve many problems and then you will be able to solve, you know, build your own logic. First, you have to see how you can build your logic. So for you have to solve many problems for that. For that, what you have to do, get a pen and paper, write everything and understand it. If you're not getting it, try again, ask questions. That is very important. Ask questions about everything, how it is doing, how it's going, how it's running. So asking question and writing everything is very important. So when you take a problem, or you are, let's say you are giving an interview for some company and they have given you a problem, The first thing that you have that comes into your mind should be brute force approach. So think, what's don't think what's the best possible way to solve it. Think, what is the approach that I can use to solve this. Don't think about time complexity, space complexity, and all that. Try to just solve it. If you have given some kids a problem, they'll think they don't know any methods, any sorting methods, any searching methods. They'll just think how can I solve it. So do that first. Then after trying the brute force approach, identify the issue that okay, this brute force approach is taking too much of the time and space of my computer. Then use a better data structure. So first try to use brute force approach, and then go on about it. So that is very important. Then what comes into our mind? We are talking about solving coding problems and getting programming languages. So that then comes the question how to start solving questions. So first for that, go to a library, pick out a book, or if you have don't access to a library, we have this computer within ourselves, so within our reach. So go to your computer, download some books about data structures, and get some theory knowledge. Let's say you want to learn arrays first, which is the most basic thing. So get the theory knowledge of arrays and see how they are working. Try to learn everything from the theory, and then with hands on, sorry, then with hands on, do the practical of that array type. So then you have learned the theory and then you are coding. So it will be very beneficiary to you. So after getting one data structures, like you have learned now arrays, after getting one data structures, then move on to another data structure. Don't skip something in between. Take one data structures, get the theory knowledge about it, implement it, and then move on to the next questions. The uh, the thing which we do wrong in our graduation days is we try to implement it as soon as we have heard about it. Let's say I have heard about maps or trees, I'll just try to implement it. Don't do that. Get the theory understanding of it first, write it down, write the definitions how it's working first, and then go to your code and try to implement it. So that's the best possible way to do it. So next thing is practice every day. So there is one thing that if you take 1 or 2 days off your coding, so you'll forget everything. So don't do that. If you are not if you don't have enough time, try to contribute minimum amount of time, like 30 minutes on or an hour of a day. So you have to take it out of your day. So give an hour to coding every day. So go to your complete computer every day and try to code it, because let's say if you have learned arrays today and you have implemented it, but the next day you are not doing it, for next 2 days you are not doing it, and after 2 days you are trying to do it, so you'll forget everything. So don't take too many days off, and every day revise what you have learned yesterday. So practicing every day is very important. And also use comments in your own code. So write that what you have understand today, write it in comments, so that after some days, if even if you have learn after it some days, you read it after some days, you'll get it that yeah, I thought like this that day. So you'll get it. So practicing every day is very important for programmers. So it's the most basic thing you have to do. So next thing is, if you are not getting some topic, so let's say don't be stuck on that. If you're not getting some topic for like 2 3 days or 4 days straight, don't be stuck on it. Take some time off of it, like for some days use another data structure, go to another topic, learn that. There might be a possibility that you'll get that and you're not getting this. So if you get stuck on one topic, and from that only you will be scared that I'm not getting it, I'm leaving it here only. So there might be some other easy topics for you. So take that, learn that. So if you are you know letting out something, it will be only just one topic, not every topic. So if you just leave it there from one topic, you'll get everything wrong. So if you're getting stuck on anything, Just leave it for some days, take another topic and learn it. So main 5 rules which you have to remember for this are: clear your concepts first. Okay, take a programming language, clear your concepts, then start thinking how you can solve problems. By how will you be start thinking? So by doing you'll start thinking. So start doing your programs, not just sitting ideally and doing nothing and seeing online YouTube videos. Go to your computer and try anything. Let it be anything. Just print hello world. If you are beginner, just print hello world, see how it's working. Just print sum of two numbers, addition of two numbers, multiplication of two numbers. So do coding every day and start thinking how it's working. And don't be hasty. Like I've given like week or 2 weeks and I'm not getting it. It's a continuous process, so you have to give time to it. So that is the main point. Another main point is practice. Practice is everything. Practice, practice, practice every day. And don't take too long breaks. That I'll learn operating systems now, I'll do coding after 1 week. Don't do that. Code every day. Take theory parts with it. If you are doing your graduation, I understand that you have to do assignments, you have to do theory concepts as well, but you have to also get it that you have to code every day. So don't take too long breaks. Code every day. Then when you're learning DSA and you want to get placed in some bank company, so when you want to get placed, you have to stay active on some websites, because this is very important. There are some forums and everything, they are active on that. So if you try to post everything, try to post every day something new, what you have learned, what you are going to learn, what interests you, what you don't like, so that will be very beneficiary to you. So there are some websites on which you should be active, so that will be beneficiary to you. So these are some websites like Stack Overflow, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, Geeks for Geeks. So go on to the Stack Overflow and ask questions there. That is forum only. So if you are getting stuck on some topic, go to Stack Overflow, post your doubt there, so someone will answer your question. Then you can also answer somebody else's questions. So this will be very you'll get some new knowledge every day. So let's say someone has put something about a code, how to add two numbers, and you know how to add two numbers, go there and help them. So this is our programmers community. Go there and be active there. That is very important. We ignore this stuff while we are learning DSA, which is very important. Try to be active on LinkedIn, because many job openings are coming there. So you have to be active on LinkedIn, post everything that you are learning, that you have made some projects or everything. Then on Twitter, tweet something that you have learned, see what others are learning, what trends are they following. We'll go to these websites now and we'll see how they are. First website which we'll see is Stack Overflow. So this is your Stack Overflow. Go to this website and see what others are searching, what others have doubts in it. Go to this website and answer them or ask your questions here. Next, another website is Geeks for Geeks. So on Geeks for Geeks, you can learn data structures. Then you can also solve coding problems here, and you can post your blogs, you can read what others have written. So these are very important methodologies. And also on Geeks for Geeks, they post many job opportunities or internship opportunities in every month. So they have job openings for working professionals as well as students. So you can go there and you can apply there. This is very important. Know where the trend is going on right now. Let's move on. Then when you want to learn how to solve problems, or you want to do competitive programming, there is also one misconception that if you want to learn DSA and you want to get placed in some uh, huge MNCs or FANG companies, you have to have competitive coding practice and you have to get a better rank, but it is not very true. uh, you can clear their interviews without that also, but this will help you develop your logic. So for that, these websites are very helpful. So there is Lead Code, there is Hacker Rank, Geeks for Geeks, as I told you. Then there is Code Chef. So I have made another account on Lead Code recently. So let's see that. So go to this website. See, I have made this account recently. So go to this Lead Code website and there are many coding problems available over here. See, go to problems. See, top interview 150 questions, Lead Code 75. There are many questions available over here of DSA. You can go over here and you can solve it. So there are some easy, medium and hard level questions. So if you once you get medium and hard level questions, it becomes very easy for you to crack any interview. So first, when you are a beginner, try to solve easy problems and then move on to hard and medium. So that is very important. So let's say if you are learning arrays now, you can search arrays over here. So the questions which uses arrays will come. So you can go and solve, like what are the array questions coming right now. And they also tell you in which companies these questions have asked previously. So this is very important for you. Then there is Hacker Rank. So go to Hacker Rank, make your account there, solve problems there. So this will be very beneficiary to you. There is Geeks for Geeks and Code Chefs as well. And there are many other websites. So go to websites, explore them, and whichever you like the most. So most of the programmers like Lead Code. It is very helpful. So try to use Lead Code first. But if you are a beginner and you don't get questions on Lead Code, don't get stressed. It is very usual because Lead Code questions are somewhat hard for beginners. So go to Code Chef or Hacker Rank first if you are a beginner. Solve some simple programs there, and once when you are getting logic, then move on to Lead Code because Lead Code questions are somewhat hard for beginners. So when you are starting to learn DSA, follow a roadmap. Write this roadmap down whenever you are watching this video. Take a note, write this roadmap down and follow it. Don't just take any topic out of DSA and try to learn it, because every topic is interconnected with everything. So if you don't know how arrays work, you can't understand how stacks and queues work. If you don't know how stacks and queues are working, how pointers are working, you can't get trees and hash maps and all that. So take a roadmap first, take each and every one topic one after the another and learn it. So we'll see how what is this roadmap and how you can learn it. The first thing which comes in our roadmap is arrays. So arrays is the most basic data structures that is being used. So first you have to learn array and hashing. So go to some book or website and see how arrays are working and try to implement it. Then solve some 20-30 questions about arrays. I'm getting you the minimum amount. There are no limits to it. Solve as many problems as possible. So first learn arrays and move on with it. Then there comes two pointers, stacks. You can also learn queues with stacks. So there is no limitation to it. You can learn stacks and queues hand in hand. So after arrays, try to learn two pointers and stacks. After you have mastered it, you can see how the flow is going. After two pointers, you can go with binary search, sliding window and linked list. So linked list questions are very important because uh, in every company, on every project, linked list concepts are very helpful. So you have to get the concepts of linked list. Let it be any single linked list, doubly linked list, circular linked list. So you have to learn it. So first try arrays, then go with stacks, then go with two pointers. Why do you have to learn two pointers? Because when you use binary search, you use two pointers method. That's why you have to get the concept clear of two pointers. So then learn two pointers, then go with searching. First, go with the brute force in searching, which is linear search. Then go with binary search. Then you can use sliding window. Then you can use linked list. So after you have done all this, move on with trees. And with this also, you have to solve as many problems as possible, because that is very important. If you are doing binary search, it is very most often asked questions in companies. Binary search is very important. So once you get your base concept clear, you can get your logic right. So after linked list, you can go on with trees. So I guess this is where you'll get stuck sometimes, because trees concepts is somewhat a little bit hard for beginners. So when you go on to trees, give it some time, 15 days, 20 days, and solve it, because trees concepts is you'll it will take some time. Then after learning trees, you can move on with heap and priority queue. Then you can do backtracking. So backtracking questions are also very important. If you are in the final year right now or getting try to placed, uh, backtracking questions are most often asked in companies, and backtracking questions are somewhat I also find difficult sometimes. So backtracking questions you have to do it. So in backtracking, you can move on with then graphs and DP problems, dynamic programming, which is so dynamic programming, backtracking, graphs, trees. These are very important topics that you have to learn while you want to get placed in some company. Then you can move on with intervals, gradient, advanced graphs. So if you are trying to placed in some FANG or MANG company like Google and Amazon and something like that, so they'll mostly not ask something about arrays and two pointers. They'll ask you about backtracking, graphs, and trees. They often ask questions about graphs. So this is your roadmap. Note it down and then move on with DSA. So it will be very easy for you. So with this, let's now move on to the topics which we are going to learn today. First, what we are going to see, we are going to see searching. In searching, we'll first see the brute force, which is linear search. After that, we are going to see how to work with binary search, and we are going to use Java in this particular part, because I love Java. uh, I picked a language Java and I'm going to stick with it. So then you have to stick your own pick your own language. Don't use Java if you don't want to, but for this video we are going to use Java. Then we are going to see some sorting techniques, which is bubble sort, insertion sort, and quick sort. Cyclic sort and selection sort. So yeah, let's move on with it. In this particular part of, because to time limitation that we have, I have already made the logic, and I'll make you go through with it. Try to code it with me only. So let's see first searching. We'll see how linear search works. So if you have learned some basic DSA, so you have to know that we calculate time complexity. So we are not going to dive deep into uh, how to find time complexity and space complexity, because it's not the context of this video. uh, we are going, but we'll see what is the time complexity of it. So always, most of the times we consider worst case, because if we have the worst case that it is the worst possible time that my program will take, we mostly go with the worst case. So in linear search, the best case complexity is big of 1. It's big of 1. So let's say you are searching for some uh, element in an array, so you'll get your element at first position. So that is the best case possible, so which takes big O of 1. Then worst case is big O of n. So let's say you have n elements in your array and you are getting your element at the last of the array. So that will be the worst case possible. So Let me show you how linear search is going to work. So let's say you have some array elements over here. Let's say this is your array and you are searching for an element in your array. Let's say it is 8. So we'll check with every element in the array. We'll move on with first index. So arrays have indexes and indexes start from 0 in array. So we'll compare every element with our searching element. So let's say first we'll take 10. We'll see if 10 is equal to it. So it is not. So we'll move on to the next element. So we'll take 1. So 1 is equal to it. No, it is not. We'll move on to the next. We'll see if 2 is equal to it. So it is not. We'll move on to the next element. We'll see if 5 is equal to it. No, it is not. And the last element. So we are getting our last element is 8. So this is the worst case, which takes big O of n. So we are getting our element on the nth position. So if we do not, let's say we are trying to search for 18. So after getting to the last element, we have not find our element. So in that case, we are going to return -1. So this is how your linear search is going to work. Let's try, let's see how the code looks of it. So I have already written the logic for you because of the time constraint. So let's see how linear search is going to look like. So first we have made a package which is Java DSA. Then we have made a class linear search. Then let's see the method first. So in the method we have made it static. Why? Because we want to access it in the main method, the same class. So we have made it static. And then what we are going to do, we have taken array and target as parameters. The array in which we are going to search for our element and the target that we want to search. So these two parameters we are taking. So in it, what we are going to do, we are going to make a for loop. We are going to initialize I to 0 because array indexes start from 0. Then what we are going to do, we are going to iterate it through a loop. So there is a method of arrays which is array dot length. So it will return the length of the array. So we are going to iterate through 0 to the length of the array. We'll go to 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we are going to increment our counter. So we'll do I plus plus. Then we are going to check array I is equal to target. So if we find our element, we'll just return the index of it. So let's say we are trying to search for 5. So when we are finding the element, we are going to return the index of it. So it will return 4 over here. So if we are not finding, we'll just continue the loop. So what continue do is continue takes you to the next iteration. It breaks the current loop and takes you to the next iteration. So we'll search for element. If we do not find anything, we'll just return -1. So let's come on to the main method. So in main method, what we have done, we are going to initialize an array. We are going to initialize a static array. Then we have made a target element. Then we are going to make a variable of answer, and then we are going to call our method and pass this array and target in it. So we are passing target as 15 and there is no element as 15 available in this array, so it should return -1, correct? And why we are taking it to a variable? Because we are returning a value from here and it is of type integer. That's why we are taking integer over here in the variable. So let's try and run it. Time. Yeah, so it's returning -1 because there is no element as 15. If we make our target as 5, let's see, it should give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It should give us 4. Let's try to run it. Yeah, so it is giving us 4 only. So our linear search is working just fine. So let's move on with our next topic. So we'll see binary search now. So binary search is very important. If you are trying to get placed, do as many problems possible as on binary search. It is frequently asked. So the best case complexity in binary search is also big of 1. In the best case possible, we'll find it on the first place only in the middle element. And the worst case possible is big of log n. So this makes our works very easier. It's better than linear search. That's why we use binary search. So as I told you, first take a data structure and see what's the issue with it. What's not good with it. So in linear search, if we see, the best worst case possible was big O of n. So in binary search is big O of log n. So it is very efficient. That's why we use binary search. Let's see how you can work with binary search. Let's see the logic first. Let's say you have some elements in your array. Let's say this is your array and you are trying to search for 14. Sorry, let's take, there is one more thing that you have to keep in mind when you are using binary search. When you are given that the array elements are sorted, let it be ascending or descending order, then it should come up in your mind that we have to use binary search now, because when array elements are sorted, then only you can use binary search efficiently. So what we do in binary search is, we divide our array into half and try to search it in the one part. So how it works is, let's say our target element is 30, correct? So we'll take a middle element. So how you can find your middle element is, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll find your middle element like 4 by 2. So you'll get 2 as your middle element. So this second index is our middle element, correct? So this 20 is our middle element. Let it be M, correct? So let it be, we'll use 2 pointers in it. So we'll make first and last like this. First will point to the first element, last will point to the last element, correct? So our middle element is 20 now. So we know for sure that we are trying to search for 30, right? So 30 is not going to be on the left of this middle element. Why is that? Because 30 is greater than 20. So it is sorted in ascending order. So greater element will be always be on the right of this part. So for that reasons, we are going to search it on this part only now. Correct? So what will we do? We'll make our first pointer to m plus 1. So we'll make our first pointing over here. Correct? Our first pointer will be pointing over here now. So after that again we'll do the same steps. So we'll again find the middle element, which will be 7 by 2, which is 0 and 1. So this will, let's say this is going to be our middle element, and then we are again going to check if it's less than or greater than our middle element. So this is how it works. So let's see the coding implementation now. Say we'll see how binary search works. So we have made a class of binary search, and we are going to make a method for binary search. We are going to pass our array and target as parameters over here. So as I told you, we are going to use 2 pointers, correct? First pointing to the first element and one pointing and pointing to the last element. So we are going to point start to 0 because array indexes start from 0. We are going to point end to array of length minus 1. So length gives us 5 and our indexes start from 0. So last element would be 4. So that's why we are going to do length minus 1. So end would be pointing to 10 right now and start would be pointing to 1 right now. Correct? Then we have to make our loop to iterate through our array. So when the start becomes greater than end, we'll end our loop. Correct? So this is our loop condition. Then we are going inside it and we have to find our mid element. So what we are going to do? We are going to do start which is 0, end which is 4, and we are going to add them and by 2. But there is a issue with that. So when you do start plus end by 2, so if you have enormous array which have various many elements, there is a possible when you try to perform start plus end, so it could exceed your limit of integer. So that's why what we are going to do, we are just going to say end minus start by 2. It is doing the same thing, but it will not give us an error. So we are going to find our middle element. Then we are going to check if this middle element is equal to a target. So let's say if we are going to find for, let's say, 20. So if you were going to try and find 20, so when we find our middle element, it is equal to, give me one moment. Okay, so we are trying to find middle element and we are getting in the first iteration only. So we are checking that case. We are going to search for 10 in this case, let's say. So this we are going to check if array mid is equal to target, we are going to return mid. Correct? We are going to return the element, sorry, index. So let's say if that's not the case, we are trying to search for 10 and our middle element is 7. So we are going to check if our middle element is greater than target. So what does it mean? That this middle element is greater than the target. This is also not the case because our huh, this is this is not the case. So what in that case what we are going to do? We are going to do start is equal to mid plus 1, as I told you. And if it's not that case, so that means our array of mid is less than the target. So we are going to do end is equal to mid minus 1. Correct? So after our loop is over and we don't find mid, so we can't return it, so we'll return minus 1 simply. Correct? And in the main method we are doing the same. We are passing an array, we have return an answer for target element. We are passing 5 over here, not making a variable. So 5, it should give us 0 1 2 3. Correct? Let's try and run it. So yeah, it is working just fine. 0 1 2 and 3. So make this basics of binary search very clear, and there are various problems available on lead code of binary search. If you go here and see binary search, there are various problems available on binary search. So go and solve them. First, get your basic understanding clear about binary search. So with this, let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be bubble sort. So sorting is somewhat very important. You are given some array or linked list or some data structure and you have to sort them. So there are some efficient methods to sort your arrays or any data structure. So we'll see 4 of them today. First one is bubble sort. It takes O of big O of n square complexity and auxiliary space of O of 1, which is constant. So let's see how bubble sort works. So as you have seen bubbles popping into the water, it works in the same way. So what we do is we check two adjacent elements and we swap them. So in the first pass, let's say this is our array 7 6 4 3. So we'll take first two elements 7 and 6. So 7 is greater than 6, so we'll swap them. Correct? Then in the next iteration, what we are going to do, So we'll see if 7 and 4, correct? So 7 is again greater than 4, so we'll swap them, correct? Then we'll check 7 and 3, and 7 is again greater than 3, so we'll swap them. So if you observe over here, after every iteration in bubble sort, you'll get a largest element at the end of your array. So this is how bubble sort is going to work. In the next iteration, again what we are going to check, we are going to take two elements. If second one is lesser, we're going to swap them. So 6 is greater than 4, so we'll swap them. So 6 is again greater than 3, we'll swap them. So now 6 comes at the end of the array. So we are getting largest elements at the end of the array, and we are going to ignore 7 because it's already greater and the on the last of the array, so it's on the correct position. And in the third pass, we are going to check is 4 is greater than 3, so it is, and we are going to swap them, and we'll ignore 6 and 7. So to do this, what we have to do, we have to make two loops, correct? First one to iterate through the it will, how many times it should iterate. So the number of elements which are present in the array, first loop will take it, and second loop should run till when, till we are going to the last element of the array which is not sorted. So let's see how bubble sort works now. So let's see. So the first, we are going to we have made a method of sort, and we are going to just pass a array to it. So as I told you, we are going to make two loops, correct? So for the first loop, we are going to check for 0 to the length of the array, correct? So it will go through 0 to the last of the array. For the inner loop, what we are going to check, we are making another loop, and we are going to check length minus 1, correct? Because the last element is sorted. So in that, we are going to check if its current element is greater than its adjacent element. So we are checking if the current element is greater than the adjacent element. So if that's the case, we are going to swap the two elements. So for that, I have made a swap method. So in which what we are going to do, so we have declared a swap method. In swap method, we are passing the array which we have taken as an input here as a parameter. We are passing the same only. Then we are going to take the indexes of it. We are going to pass j and j plus 1 because that are the indexes. And here we are going to take integer a and integer b, correct? So in the swap method, we have made a temporary variable. We'll store the uh, first index, first value on in the temporary variable. Let's say let's say 10, 20, 1, 1, 4. So let's take it for 20 and 1. So we'll store 20 into temporary. Then we are assigning 1 to a, and then we are assigning 20 to b, correct? So these two elements would be swapped, correct? And after that swapping, we are just going to return the whole sorted array. So in the main method, what we have done, we are going to take an array which is not sorted. Then we are going to take another array to store the answer of sorted array, correct? And then we are calling the method sort and passing that array. And this is the enhanced for loop, new versions of Java. So if you are using new version of Java, you can use enhanced for loop. It will make a iterator of I, and it will iterate through answer, and we are going to just print it. So let's try and run it now. So we have provided 10, 20, 1, 4, 50, which is not sorted, and we are getting the sorted elements like 1, 4, 10, 20, and 50, correct? So let's move on to the next topic, which is cyclic sort, correct? So the time complexity of cyclic sort is big O of n square. Is not very good, but we use it anyways, and every case it is O of n square. So let's see how cyclic sort works. So what we do in cyclic sort is, uh, as the name suggests, we try to uh, do it cyclically. So what we do is, let's check the concept first. So when you are given that in the array you have 1 to n elements, correct? So when you have 1 to n elements, if you observe every element, let me give, when you have 1 to n elements any array, what it means, see, let's say you have 1 to n elements, 1, correct? So there are 4 elements and it is 1 to n, correct? So when you see this, so every element should be, let's say if it's 1, so its index should be 1 minus 1, which is 0. So it is on the correct index. Then let's say 4, so 4 should be on 4 minus 1 equal to 3 on the third index. So it is not on the correct index, so we are going to swap it with this, correct? So let's say 3, so 3 should be on 3 minus 1 on the second position. So it is on the correct index only, 0 1 2, so we are not going to do anything. And 2 is also on the correct index now. So this is how cyclic sort works. So what we do in cyclic sort is we take one element and we see how many elements are smaller than that, and we try to put it on the right index. We are going to do that only. And when you are given that there are 1 to n elements present in the array, so that's the case when you use cyclic sort. So then it works more efficiently. So there is one famous problem in cyclic sort. So they have given, you are given 1 to n elements in an array, but one element is misplaced and another element is put. So let's say you are given 1 to n, which is 1 to 4, but you are missing missing 2 over here. So you have to find which element is missing. So in that case, we can use this method cyclic sort. So we are going to check. So let's say we are taking 4 here. So we'll ignore the first. Then we'll take 0, correct? So 0 should be on which index? It should be on the 0th index only. We're going to put it on the 0th index, correct? Then what we are going to do? So if you are getting confused over here why we are not doing with 4 anything, it is because 4 should be on 4 minus 1, which is third index, correct? But there are only 4 elements, so which are 4 0 1 2 and 3. So 4 does not have a correct index because it's the misplaced element. So that's why we are ignoring 4 right now. So we move on to 0, and 0 on the 0th index, so we'll put it on 0. Then we'll move on to 4, so it's again the incorrect misplaced number, so we'll move on. Then we'll see 3. So 3 should be on the uh, third index, 0 1 2 3, so we'll put it on the third index, correct? Then we are going to take 1, so 1 should be on the uh, first index, so we'll put it on 1. So because we are given 0 to n over here, we are going to consider that only, not minus 1. Let me show you. In this case, we have given 1 to n elements, correct? So their correct index would be minus 1 because array indexes start from 0. But in that problem, we have given 0 to n like this. So if you are given 0 to 1, every element's correct index would be that number only. So if the number is 0, it should be on the 0th number. If it's 1, it should be on the first index. This is how it's work, correct? So now we know that 4 is on the 0 1 and 2 second index. So 2 is the number which is misplaced by 4, correct? So this is how you can solve it. Let's see how you can implement it. So we have made a method of sort and we are passing an array into it. Then what we are doing, we are going to initialize I to 0, correct? Why we are doing it? Because we are going to match indexes with the number. So if the number is 1, then it should be on the 0th index, 1 minus 1. We are taking 1 to n over here. So if the number is 1, its correct index should be 1 minus 1, which is 0. For that purpose, we have initialized I with 0 over here. Then we are going to make a loop which will iterate through the array. So the condition is array.length less than array.length. So we are going to make a check variable which is array of I minus 1. Why? Because we have given 1 to n and correct index is minus 1. So then we'll check if check is equal to I, then we'll just increment it and continue. It is on the correct index. Otherwise, what we are going to do, we are going to put it on the correct index. That's why we have used swap over here. Swap's logic is the same as the uh, previous code only. So I'm not going to explain it. It's the same. And at the last, we are just going to return the array. So in the main method, we have given 53214, which is unsorted, and it is 1 to n. So we can use cyclic sort. So we have created another array to store our answer. Then what we have done, we have made a call a sort method and passed the array. Then we are printing it. Let's try and run this. We were providing 53214 and it's giving us 123. Correct? So this is how your cyclic sort works. Let's move on to the next sorting method now. Is insertion sort. So the time complexity of insertion sort is O of big O of n square as well. It's the same as cyclic sort, but in the cyclic sort, when we are given 1 to n elements, it is better to use cyclic sort. In other cases, you can use insertion sort. What happens in insertion sort is, let's see. So in insertion sort, what is happening? Let's say you are given some elements. You are given an array like this. So what we do is, we make another copy of the array and we take element one by one. So we'll take first element, put it into another element. So this array is empty right now. So 15 can be anywhere. So 15 will be the first position. Why? Because if it's single element, it's sorted only, correct? It will be on the first index. Then we are going to take second index, I mean second number. We are going to take second number and then compare it with the current array. So we'll compare it with 15. So it's less than 15. So what we'll do? We'll put it in front of 15. We'll move 15 behind. Correct? Now we'll take another element 14. So we'll check again if 14 is greater than or less than 12. So it's greater than 12. So we'll move on to the next element 15. So it's lesser than 15. So what we'll do? We'll put 14 over here, 15 over here. Correct? Next we are going to take next element which is 13. So we are going to check. So it's greater than 12 but less than 14. So we are going to put it there. So we take elements one by one and put it into a sorted array. Correct? Then we are taking 10. So 10 will be here. Correct? So this is how your insertion sort works. Let's see how you can implement it. Let's see. So I have taken some, let's see the method first, sort method first. So we are going to make a for loop and iterate through our loop. It's the very basic thing. Then what we are going to check? We are going to say j is equal to I minus 1. So why? Because we are checking the elements which are present in the array, correct? We are going to check the everything that is on the left of the array. So we are taking every elements 12. 15 we took, then we took 12. So we'll check whatever elements are present in the array. That's why we are taking j is equal to I minus 1. So we'll put a condition like j is greater than 0. So we have checked all the elements. So if it's less than 0, it means we have checked all the elements. And another condition which we are going to check is j is greater than current. So if that's the case, we are going to put j in j plus 1. So we are going to swap them, correct? If it's not that case, we are going to just put current into our j plus 1 and then we are going to return our array, correct? So this will sort our array. So this here also we have taken an array, put some elements call the sort method into our answer array, and we are going to print it. Let's try and run it now. Correct. So we have given an unsorted array, we are getting sorted array, minus 200, minus 100, 100, and correct. This is how your insertion sort work. So let's see next sorting method, which is selection sort. So the time complexity of selection sort is, overall complexity is O of n square only. So you can use it. It's not very good, but you can use it. So what we do in selection sort is, we select a we find the minimum element from our array and we put it on the first index. So let's say we are going to take 12. We are going to find the minimum element. So we'll check it with every element. First, what we are checking, 20, 12. So 12 is lesser than 20. So we'll make minimum as 12. And next, what we are going to check, 12, 10. So 10 is again lesser than 12. So we'll make minimum as 10. So we'll again check 10 with 15. So 10 is less than 15 only. So minimum will be 10 only. The next, what we are going to check, 10 and 2. It's the last element. So 2 is less than 10. So 2 is the minimumest value, lowest value, the array. So we are going to put it on the right index. So the right index for it is the first index. We are going to swap it with the first index. Correct. So if you remember in previous method, what we were getting in bubble sort, we were, after every iteration, we were getting the largest value at the end. So in this method, we are getting the smallest value first. So this is how your selection sort will be working. So let's see how you can code your selection sort. So we have made a method of selection sort. So we are going to put a for loop over here, and we are going to iterate through the length of the array. Correct. And we are going to just assume that the first index is currently the minimum value, the lowest value that we got. So what we were doing, so we took the 20 and we assumed that this is the smallest value possible in the array. Correct. So for that, we are going to take minimum as I. Then what we are going to do, we are going to check it after this. We are taking 0 as the minimum element, 0th index is the minimum. We are going to check for the rest of the elements. For that, what we are going to do, j is equal to I plus 1, because we want to check the right of the array and the last of the array till the last of the array. Correct. For that, we have put this condition. So after that, what we are going to check, if this element, if this 12 is less than the current minimum element, if that's the case, what we are going to do, we are going to change our minimum element to j. Correct. So we are going to change minimum to 12. Correct. After the next iteration, we'll change it to 10. Then 15 is greater, so we'll ignore. Then we'll change it to 2. So this is doing that only. So after doing that, after this loop is over, what we'll get, 2 is our lowest element. So once we get the 2 is our lowest element, we are going to swap it with the first element. Correct. So swap logic is the same. We are going to swap it. After our outer loop is over, we are going to return our array. And the main method, what we are going to do, we are going to make an array. We are going to make an answer array, call our method, pass the array, and we are going to print it. So let's try and run it now. So see, we have provided an unsorted array and we are getting the sorted elements like minus 1000, minus 200, 5, 50, and 100. Correct. So I hope these concepts are clear to you. So with this bootcamp comes to an end. So what you have learned today is very important. Let me show you again. Remember these 5 rules if you are trying to learn DSA. Clear your concepts, pick a programming language, start thinking about it by doing it. Don't be too hasty. Give as much possible as much time into it. and practice this every day, and don't take too long breaks in your coding. So do coding every day, and try coding every day. So by following these 5 rules, you can get your DSA right and get placed into any company. So yeah, this is about this video. I hope you have learned something new. So keep coding and keep practicing.